We focus a lot on the industry and watches, but what's this whole COVID thing done to us as watch collectors? Hi, I'm Pete McConnell. Welcome back to Not So Obvious Watches. I did a piece, my last video was about the impact of COVID-19 on the watch industry, and then I had a couple of interesting responses to that from you, and one of them made me really think less about what this whole virus is doing to the watch industry, but more what it's doing to me as a watch collector. Now, I'm curious about what it's doing to you as well, but I'm not in a position to make judgments about what's going on inside you, but I figured it was worth me thinking about it a little bit, and since I run a YouTube channel, I'll talk to you guys about it. First thing I really must point out is that we in Australia have actually got away with this reasonably well by world standards. A combination of luck, good management, a solid societal background has meant we were able to act really aggressively really early, so we very quickly were able to minimize the growth of the disease in the first place. We have a really deep and a really wide moat, which helps an enormous amount, and also we've had a level which, as a result, we hit the restrictions pretty hard early, but we never had to go as hard as everyone else. That's probably made it easier for maintaining a level of, I'll call it, social cohesion than I think some other countries have had and have really struggled with. So everything that I'm going to talk about now in terms of the effect of me really has to be seen through that lens, that the actual physical impacts on people like me in Australia haven't really been as great as they would have been on many of you. So for that reason, what my experience is will obviously be very different to yours. So what has been the experience on me? Generally, it's made me kind of slow down and think more about me. Now, I don't mean that in a selfish way. What I mean is it's made me think much harder about what's actually important and what's not. Little quirky things, I don't know if you've noticed it, but when I was looking at some of my other videos, I've worn this jumper a lot. What I have, as I was preparing this video, I found myself looking back and realizing over the last couple of months, my clothing selection has shrunk right down to a very small number of pieces that I just really enjoy wearing, that I haven't bothered wearing a lot of other clothes. Curiously, that's kind of happened with my watches as well, but not as much. Other things, I've been using lots of, I won't say excuses. It is true I still don't have any lighting in my studio. It is true I didn't have internet for a long time. But the truth is, I've really wanted to trim down a lot of my life, and for a while I was thinking about where YouTube and this all fit. And so whilst I've decided that I really do want to keep doing YouTube, I enjoy it, it's what I want to do, there are things I'm going to change in that. Which really brings me now to, that's more just generally, now let's just start talking about me as a watch collector. Okay, so as a watch collector, what I would say is that idea of shrinking down to what I really like has led me to really critically examine the watches that I own. I've gone from having a large collection of around about 60 watches to now a collection of around about 30 watches. I have not sold those other watches, they're still sitting in a box. I will make a decision about what I will do with them one day, but what I would call my collection, what is genuinely and truly me, not just things I bought to pad something out or to create a line or to add color or spice, is really shrunk. It's more than halved or less than halved, however you want to look at it. In terms of the watches I'm looking at buying, I've found that I'm focusing much more on things which are likely to be attainable. That does not mean I've decided I'm buying nothing but $200 watches. And in some ways, the level of watch I'm looking at has almost gone up but at the same time the ceiling has got harder. I'm finding I just can't get interested in fantasy pieces anymore. Watching the recent SIHH, there are some really nice watches. I kind of liked the new Vacheron Constantin super thin, super complex, perpetual calendar stuff. There's a part of me that appreciates that exists in the world, but it's also, whereas once I might have been really interested in it academically, I might have researched it, might have done a video on it, now I just don't care about it. I like it, but I don't care about it. Conversely, I find myself really caring about that 56 range, probably in a way which I might like really caring about it. I think before this I might have again treated that as if it was just like the ultra thin, some sort of fantasy watch, but by shrinking down what I'm interested in, but also being more realistic, it's this weird thing of my range has probably shrunk, but my scope has shrunk, but my depth or my height has changed. I'm not sure if I'm expressing that well. The other thing I would say that has changed is what I intend to do from this as a YouTube channel. I spent a lot of time trying to learn from others. I think at every point I was always aware of trying to keep my own style, of doing it my own way, but still kept slipping into trying to not imitate others, but take on lessons that weren't necessarily relevant to me. Some people find the editing and the lighting and all of that stuff really cathartic. They really enjoy it. I don't. I hate it. I have to drag myself to do it. To improve the quality of one person's videos might take them very little mental and emotional effort. For me, that is enormous, and it was costing me. I don't want to do that anymore. Now, I'm not going to go back to shooting with a GoPro mounted on my bike handlebars while I squat in front of the bike, which I actually did for some of my early ones. But at the same time, I'm going to just dial back the effort involved in getting stuff out and concentrate more on getting out stuff I like. I think the other thing is I was thinking too hard about the wrong things. This whole hobby, and this is going to be increasingly a theme you see coming forward, this whole hobby is kind of irrational. And I think you can understand the irrational rationally. You can be an art critic, you can be a movie critic, you can take a piece of artwork and try, and the desire to own, possess, watch, enjoy that artwork, which is fundamentally irrational. You can look at that rationally, but I was going too far and injecting too much rationality into trying to figure out why a watch was good. I was trying to make why a watch was good rational, as opposed to be rational about why I thought a watch was good. I'm not sure if that makes sense. What I'm really heading towards is I've stopped doing watch reviews for a little while I sort of sit back and think about what I want to do. I had a wonderful conversation with a watchmaker a couple of nights ago. We were just chatting about something similar, and it's made me think about how we really overemphasize specs, we really overemphasize value, we really overemphasize, in my mind, all the wrong things when we talk about watches, sometimes because those things are easy to talk about, and so we make the mistake of talking about what's easy to talk about rather than what's important to talk about. I think sometimes it's because, and this is a very male topic, a very male sphere, I think we're uncomfortable with the heart of it. We're uncomfortable with the qualitative parts of watches. Now, I'm not going to say the subjective parts. I'm going to separate subjective and qualitative here. Just because you can't measure it doesn't mean it's subjective. Something can be qualitatively good, but not necessarily subjectively good, and the other way around. So I've been thinking about that a lot too, and so you're going to see that kind of talk coming through my videos. Yeah, so that's really, I think that's really about it. What this whole thing has made me do is kind of try and get more to be like me. Try and put more of me into the channel. In fact, try and put more of me into my life. And this channel is just part of my life, so that's what you're going to see. I'd be interested to know what it's meant for you. Has this COVID-19 thing done anything to you? And have you found yourself looking at your life, your hobbies, your interests differently? Thanks. I've been Pete McConville. This has been Not So Obvious Watches, and I'll see you later. Bye.